This is going to be my last video. Not on the channel, just on the Eternabond modification I did on the roof a few years ago, and I will explain why in just a few minutes. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you a picture that was sent to me from a viewer on something you don't want to do. But for now, let's get everyone caught up who hasn't seen the first 3 Eternabond videos I released on the channel already. So about 4 years ago, I watched some videos on YouTube from other RVers who used Eternabond to seal their RV roof. So I thought I would give this modification a try. The first Eternabond video that we did got a lot of views. I don't even like my Eternabond video. It was filmed during a time when I didn't have good equipment. I didn't know how to make a good YouTube video. Anyway, with a lot of views comes a lot of questions, and a lot of those questions were the same. How has it held up over time? So instead of answering the same question 1,000 different times, I figured I would just release an update video every year showing how the Eternabond is holding up. The reason this is going to be my last Eternabond video is because simply I'm just not seeing any type of failure, no cracking, peeling, lifting. Everything looks like it did when I applied it 3 years ago. I may release a 10-year update because that's a nice round number, and if I see the product failing, I will definitely release a video on that. I will still put pictures of how the Eternabond is holding up on our community page every year, but I would much rather spend the time I put into these videos making new content for you guys. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button if you want to see those updates. I want to address a few comments first. If I were to do this again, would I remove the lap sealant instead of going over it? And I actually think that I would. Even though H.B. Fuller, who's the manufacturer of Eternabond, says you can go right over the lap sealant, it does make for a cleaner look if you remove the lap sealant first. I would just say that any lap sealant that you do go over should be applied and out in the sun for about 60 days so it's fully cured. But yes, you can remove the lap sealant and just use Eternabond as a straight sealant. So another question I get is, can you put lap sealant over the edges of the Eternabond to create an additional seal? And the answer is yes. Now, I did not round my edges, which is something I will definitely do on my next RV, but even with hard edges, they're not peeling up, so I just didn't feel like putting lap sealant on the edges of the Eternabond would solve anything. So another comment I see is how to replace the plastic trim piece that sits inside the drip rail. Apparently, a lot of people have problems with that plastic piece getting brittle and cracking over time. All you would need to do with a razor knife, cut the length of the Eternabond right where it makes contact with the plastic cover. You then remove the old cover, insert the new cover, and then starting on the roof, you can lay another piece of Eternabond from the roof over the existing Eternabond, back down over onto the new cover. You can put new Eternabond over top of old Eternabond. It will stick. In fact, H.B. Fuller released a video probably over a decade ago showing that if you do remove the tape and can't get all the micro sealant off, you can actually apply new Eternabond right over the old micro sealant. However, in this case, you wouldn't have to remove the Eternabond because you're cutting it where it meets the trim and you're removing the trim piece. Something else to consider is by covering this plastic trim piece, you're taking the elements and UV damage out of the equation, so it might actually last a little bit longer by completely covering this trim piece, and knowing that we can get it out easily, that's something I might consider doing on our next RV. It does not mean your roof is maintenance free. RV roof maintenance is a thing. It will always be a thing. The Eternabond mod does not change that fact. Sealing with Eternabond just means that you don't have to deal with lap sealant every few years or so. And speaking of inspections, I will usually inspect my roof every month that we're not traveling. And when we are traveling, I'll check it before we leave and after we get back. There's one more thing that I want to cover today, but before we get to that, did you know that we have an RV newsletter? It's completely free to join. We send out tips, new product releases, and coupon codes to save you guys money on products you're already buying for your RV. There have been a lot of other questions, and a lot of those questions have been answered in the first 3 Eternabond videos that we've released. I will put links to all of those videos down below in the video description. So let's head out and up onto the roof, see how everything has held up over the last 3 years. Now, I'll warn you, I haven't cleaned my roof in probably 3 or 4 months, but I'll get the camera as close to the product as I possibly can. So I'm gonna start at the back. You'll notice it looks like the Eternabond is lifting, but this was a problem before the Eternabond was applied. I'll put a picture on the screen of the issue before I applied the Eternabond. Some of the Imagines during that year had a problem with the glue under the membrane not holding the membrane down around areas of lap sealant. I never really found out what the issue was because the lifting actually stopped at the end of the Eternabond after I applied it, so I just kind of let it go. A shot of the front cap now. The Eternabond looks good to me. The edge looks good. I'm just not seeing any failures or even anything that looks like it's starting to fail. This is the other side of the front edge where the Eternabond meets the front fiberglass cap. I need to clean up here a little bit, but it looks to me as good as it did on day one. This is the camping side where the Eternabond wraps over the drip rail. The dark area you see next to the edge of the tape is just dirt. Eternabond is relatively thick, so it's common for dirt that rolls off with the water to collect here, but this will come right off when you clean your roof. The Eternabond around the waste tank vent looks good. This is around the bathroom skylight. Again, I definitely need to clean up here, but the Eternabond is solid. Here's another side of the skylight. The lap sealant underneath still feels solid and everything is still watertight. Okay, one last comment I want to cover today. It comes from one of our viewers. He actually sent me a picture. Eternabond has this cleaner that they recommend using prior to applying the Eternabond on your roof. It's basically an expensive can of acetone, but it can damage certain roof components. The picture shows how the Eternabond cleaner essentially started to eat through his skylight, because you know it is essentially acetone, so you need to be careful with this cleaner if you do use it. I did not use the Eternabond cleaner on my roof, but what I would recommend doing is after you wash your roof, clean the areas you're going to apply the Eternabond with an isopropyl alcohol or a mild solvent like mineral spirits. Both of those will more than adequately clean and prep the surface for the Eternabond. At the time of recording this video, something like 140,000 of you have subscribed to this channel. That blows my mind. I can't thank you guys enough, and as long as people are watching, I will continue to make our videos free for everyone to watch. If you want to support the work that I do to help other RVers, please let me know by liking, sharing, commenting, and I hope you consider subscribing. From my family to yours, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.